Hi and welcome to my channel. So this is part 2 of Jeffrey City. Me and my brother came here for a trip, and this is the second video that I've put together on this trip. Let's see here. If you haven't already watched, it's hard for me to explain what Jeffrey City is without just kind of going into it. Jeffrey City is, as you saw from that sign, the biggest bust town in the world, it said, or something like that. And it is a modern day ghost town. It was built basically because of a uranium mine. Tons of people lived here. The uranium mine shut down. Everybody moved away. There's still 50 or so people that live here in town, and that's it. Jeffrey City's located even kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's an hour drive either way to a city with population. This is the only town on basically like a 130-mile strip. So here we're walking up to this first lower building. It was basically like apartments or something like that. It might have even been a hotel at one time. I'm not really sure, but there was a part that kind of looked like it could have been a lobby or something. And as you see, it's in pretty good shape. I could have walked in there and done a little exploring inside, but there were some locals that saw us walking around, and we're out-of-town tourists that are videotaping their ghost town of a city. So, you know, we didn't want to piss anybody off and let them see us crawling around. As you can see, this one's in really good shape, though. Look at the carpet, look at the interior. It's really nice. Now, there was like a board there missing, and maybe that came down recently, but I'm not sure how recent, because as you see that, there's a bone laying right there. And I'm sure hoping that's from some kind of a deer or something like that, and not just some human leg bone laying in there, but it was a big one. It kind of looked like maybe it came from one of the antelope. Now, I don't know how it would have gotten in there and then died and had its leg chewed up and everything, and or where the rest of it is even, you know, but who knows. But as you can see, so there's this building right here. This white one was in use. Somebody was using it as some kind of a shop or something. There was this weird, odd, like, kind of shack right here, and I'm not really even sure what it was. It was very weird. We kind of looked at it, but I think it was an external heating house or something like that, or maybe it was just storage. And as you can see, there was kind of the fancy front of this, and this is the Bachelors Apartments. And I took a photo of the door. You'll see where it says Bachelors Apartments. And then on the left there, briefly you'll see it. It was just a closed store. There wasn't really much to it. There's a whole nother strip past the public mailboxes. They just have one big bank of mailboxes for the entire city, for the poor postman that I'm sure has to come all the way from Rollins or something like that. And he must just drop them all off right there. But that right there is like just a closed store. It wasn't really dilapidated or anything. It looked like it maybe ran at one time. I can't remember what the wording said on it. I'd like to say it was some kind of mining supplies or something like that. But then, so yeah, there's the big building and there's the little building. And as you can tell, I've cut the audio out because it is crazy windy at this point. But I'm going to let some of the audio come in for brief seconds or brief moments so you can just hear the wind. So as you can see, it's definitely a little windy. Just look at the American flag. So here's like a former basement of some building, and it's just a giant pit. There was just some footings and stuff down in there. And then here's the I believe it said Bachelor Apartment 2 on it, but I'm not really sure. I didn't take a photo of what was above the door on that one. In fact, we kind of ignored that building, unintentionally, but we just, you know, wanted to keep on looking at this one. So over here's like the center section, and this might have been where there could have been some kind of a lobby or something, because it's odd that this building's so much smaller. There's got to be, one of these has to be kind of like a hotel or something, and that's what this one seemed like it might have been. So it seems like this might have been like the entrance or something. But you'll see it in here. This is one of the reasons I didn't go into the buildings. As you can see, it almost looks like it had caught on fire at one time, but the whole roof is caved in, and it was just full of trash, and it was really dirty. And so, you know, I wasn't going to go trekking in there for no reason. But as you see over here is the other bank of the big buildings, and I'll put the camera inside the window, and you'll see that these are in remarkably good shape. I mean, the outside doesn't look like much, but inside, for being basically like vacant for the last 30 years, this one doesn't even have a board on it, and it's just getting beat by the wind and stuff. Look at the inside. It actually looks okay, you know. Looks like you could almost move in there. I've seen people's apartments, you know, that are way worse than that. So, you know, these buildings are here. It's just the reason they're like this is because there's nobody that lives here in this town to live in them. There was a big bird's nest, and as you can see, like, some of the windows are newer-ish. They seemed like they weren't like really old or anything, and a lot of them were just boarded up. So I don't know if somebody came in at one time and put some windows in, and maybe they were occupying sections of this or something, just like the townhomes in video 1, but maybe something like that. You know, I don't even know who owns these. Like, are these owned by the city, or is there an individual that just owns these, and he just owns all these big vacant buildings here in Jeffrey City? So we're going to crawl back into the truck, and we're going to drive to the other side of town, because town does stretch pretty far, considering, you know, there's 50 people that live here. On the other side of this building, and one of the main reasons we didn't go into it is the fire department's right there.
Sip of my surge. Look at this. It's just letting you know, feel free, sir. It is as delicious as you remember. Well, I've bought in one since. I bought it in Bothell, fucking Washington. Look at that, it's just caving.
I saw that when we drove by it. Look at the old fire trucks. Yeah, that American Pickers. I see you got some stuff over here. Can we go through your fucking
Bins of shit. Sagebrush and flat bar.
I know we need to go that way to get to the mine, so we'll go back that way. But I am curious if we can get out to this big building that's up here. Because I'm thinking like this road, and then maybe there's another road that goes that way. Catholic Church.
St. Benedict's. There's the fucking postal
box
for the entire town. There's that Wyoming sign. Which sign should be like right? Oh, here it is over here. I was like, it was over here. Oh, we're following Mr.
Pronghorn.
Biggest bust of them all, Jeffrey City.
Yep, we're for sure taking.
So we're making our way out to this part of town. It's really hard to tell kind of where anything is. This part over here was odd. This is like the last entrance, or, you know, the first entrance into town. And it definitely seemed like this was kind of maybe where nicer homes were at one time, because it's got this tree-lined street. It has this sign right here, which the sign was just awesome. And if you haven't noticed, all the signs actually in town kind of look like that. I mean, you can tell from the roads, nobody maintains the roads. Every stop sign was completely faded. You could barely see them. The only thing that was recently new, and you could tell just because they all had like fresh coats of paint and they looked like they had been dug out, was some fire hydrants there in town. But the rest of the town is pretty much just kind of abandoned or ghost town like. And so we're just driving out to see where this road goes. So as you can see, as we continue down this road, you know, there's a nice house there. There was a good example right there to the right of one of the stop signs. There's another occupied house. And like I said, I think this area was maybe the nicer area. There was even a big sign that said "Do not enter." On a big section of it, it said seated lot, do not enter. I mean, it's all sagebrush at this time. So we just kind of kept on down the hill and back into town here. And this is where the school is, and this is the whole backside of the school. And we'll kind of get close to it. We drive up to the front part. We were going to drive to the back part, but the thing is as you see, there's like kind of dirt road paths. And, you know, we don't live here in town. So, you know, if we stick on the main roads as we drive around, you know, we're okay. We're being totally, you know, legal, law-abiding tourists, basically. You know, if we started driving onto those kind of dirt road pathways, then, you know, a whole different thing might be said. So we're trying to figure out how to get to the gymnasium because there isn't a road, and we've driven on this road once already. This was in video 1. We even drove down this road. And so we just decided, well, I guess this dirt path is the only way to go. So we decided to drive on the dirt path towards the building. And we were pretty sure this was the abandoned gymnasium or something, but the only reason you could even tell it wasn't in use, because it actually looks to be in pretty good shape, was because the two smokestack kind of things are just hanging sideways at an angle, and they're just kind of, and that didn't look right. So, you know, we were like, all right, this has to be the abandoned thing. And we believe that they built this during the boom of the town, and then they just never got around to building the road or finishing the road, because there was this big sweeping drive and then it just ends. And then there was just that. So not even sure how long this was used. But I'm going to be quiet now and let the audio take over.
So yeah, I think this is the gymnasium with the pool. Please remove your shoes before walking on gym floor. No food or beverages in gym. Let's see if they're still over. Hi. Yeah, they're just deer. Hi, Mr. Deer. Yeah. Oh, and a bunch of little ones, yeah. You can't see nothing in there.
All right, welcome back. I'm back. I'm laying more audio for you because, as you could tell, it's just crazy windy in some parts. But like I said, I do like to leave in some of the noise from time to time just so you can remember what it is. But as you see right there's kind of the road or really wide sidewalk. I'm not really sure. And it just ended. It didn't really go anywhere. And I'm just walking around to this side. But as you see, the building's in really good shape. I mean, it is all brick and metal and stuff like that, but as you see right there, there's some rust on those doors, and those things are no longer upright. So, you know, who knows what was going on with that. But we're going to get back in the truck, and we're going to head back into town, I guess you could say. But yeah, as you see, it's just a circled dirt drive that comes out. There's no road, which is funny or crazy, I guess. What I've heard is that that was all built right around when the uranium prices dropped, and then people, of course, used it, and they were, you know, kind of created this little dirt drive to it, but they more or less kind of didn't build a road or anything like that, never got around to it. And then the place has just been sitting there. And I'm really curious who has the keys for that building. If you live in Jeffrey City and you're watching this video and you have the keys for the gymnasium and I can go in there and walk around, I will make the 4.5, 5 hour drive from Denver back up to your fine town. I'll even stay in your little hotel that's right there on the outside of town. I'll even stay there. I'll stay the night. I'll eat and drink at the Split Rock Cafe and Bar, and you know, I'll make a nice trip out of it. If you have a key to unlock any of these really cool buildings or these ones that aren't really, you know, all beaten up and look like I might fall through the floor, I'd love to walk around and shoot some videos. So, you know, hit me up on Messenger if that's the case. But as you can see, we're just going to drive back out of town. We're kind of making a trip over here. So over here was the townhomes, as you can see, or as you might have seen in the first video. We covered these, and this one has, like I said, some cars and stuff in front of it. So people live in some of these units. It's just crazy though. That one right there on the left-hand side, in the first video I show a photo of it, that's the city library. That one on the left-hand side. And as you can see, I think all those units are actually lived in. Now, they're not really in the greatest of shape, but again, I don't know if it matters here in Jeffrey City if you should slap new coats of paint or anything, because, I mean, it's so windy, I don't know if it would even be worth its while. But yeah, so we were just kind of stopping by and taking a look at the library. My brother wanted to hop out and take a photo. And we were actually kind of mad that it wasn't open. It was like 1:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday, and it said closed. I would have loved to have been able to go into that library. I would have gone in there and checked out a book maybe or something. But yeah, we're going to just make our way back out of town. Back on the other side is where it's Crooks Gap Road or something. Crooks Gap Road becomes the Ore Road, and then that is where you can go out to the mine. But we're going to go ahead and look around here at the school, and I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to let the audio take over, because even though it's really windy, it subsides when I get between the buildings.
Can't see nothing. A leg breaker, an ankle twister. You can see in there, that green carpet's pretty sweet. Swallow's nest up there. It's a cool one. I like how it goes down so they can zoom out. Good. Whitworth thing. I'm so glad you went there.
Yeah.
1 week later, the next month, at the end of September, they auctioned off all the stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all the stuff. And
The stuff that they were pulling out of the rooms?
every single thing, dude. Every single thing the bank owned it. The Old Boys Club bought most of it. Like the yearbooks, all the yearbooks, the photos from the first people from like 1952.
Yeah.
They bought so much stuff. Like I was like, I can't believe they were selling all that. I mean, all the old military photos. It was like the whole place went under, so everything was owned by the bank.
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I was like, thank God me and you went, and so that was the last time because they removed the doughboy and everything. We were like the last people to see it.
Yeah, I haven't put that video up yet.
If you put it up, I guarantee you a lot of people will find it and see it. The last one where it's walking through. You know? A lot of people will get it. Check it out.
Like 30.
Well, yeah, it's just all the old boys and shit. They were like, you know, it's like shooting the crowd. Not now that it's gone.
So as you can see, the school is pretty cool. I would say 80% of it's not being used. The elementary school was definitely looked like it was being used, or the little kind of gymnasium looking part. And it said elementary on it. And I bet that's kind of the community center / elementary school or something like that. The little playground definitely was very well maintained. So, you know, it leads me to believe that there's definitely kids that still attend school there. So this is the old packaged liquor store. And this was kind of, I guess, the commerce, more or less, area of town right there. There was like a car wash, or a building that had car wash written on it and so forth. And then there's a metal building that's like a church, and then there was that right there that was like a supply shop. So we're headed over here to Crooks Gap Road, which then becomes Ore Road, and that's where the mine was located. And we're gonna see if we can make it to the mine. This place right here was pretty interesting. Somebody had a odd collection of vehicles here, just parked, and it was pretty trashy in the back. And I can't even remember off the top of my head now what it is. My brother took a photo and stuff of it, and he's going to send me those photos, and we'll make a bonus video with just all the clips and pieces that, you know, didn't fit in these two videos. We'll just slap them all into one just to show it off. Because like I said, I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to come back to this town. Who knows how long this is going to stay like this. It's been like this for 30 years, but you never know. Especially here in Wyoming, they could discover a giant gas area, and all of a sudden there's 1,000 people living in this town again. And that's just kind of the way it goes here in Wyoming. So this is the dirt road. It's actually really well maintained and stuff, and this heads straight out to the mine. So I'm gonna speed up the footage at this point in time, so that way you don't have to watch every single second that we're driving, and you can see where we go. So here we are, headed out on Crooks Gap Road, which turns into Ore Road. And Ore Road was actually across the street and heads up. And I'll tell you right now, if you go on Google Earth or Google Maps and you pull up Jeffrey City, just go to where the Split Rock Bar is. And you're just going to head south, I believe it is. From there, all the way out. And you're just going to go for a long distance. I would say 15 miles at least, something like that. If you headed north up past the Mockingbird pottery place, it just keeps on going. That road never really stops. There is like a mine out there, but even on Google Earth, it looks like a new operation because there's new vehicles and some new equipment, and it looks more like a gravel type mine or something like that. Like some of these, there is operations going on out here. And that's why you'll see the occasional truck or something. Those aren't hunters, those are workers. And they were probably getting off work and heading to the bar. And, you know, it said things like, you know, something basalt, you know, or something, you know, this or that. But as you can see, these are pretty far distant. So this road right here heads to an active mine, and I'm just checking my Google Maps. I don't get service out here, but I had taken screenshots, and that was what the first picture was. And I'm looking for a building in Rock Reservoir, and so I know I'm on my way, or I'm really close when I pass those. And so we're going to keep on going straight. If you took a right there, you end up in Wamsutter, Wyoming, after about what seemed about 50 or 60 miles. So here is as far as we can go. There's a guard cow right there. It said no trespassing. And just down the road is that right there, where there would have been the 2 reclamation ponds and a building and so forth. And you could make out the building in the distance. But the gates were locked, and it said no trespassing. And like I said, there was a guard cow sitting right there, so I didn't even want to open the gate and just keep on driving, because it was obvious that there are people that work here. So that was kind of depressing. We really wanted to go check out the mine and see if there was any abandoned structures. And honestly, out of all safety purposes, I mean, it was a uranium mine, so it probably isn't a lot of stuff left. It's probably been pretty reclaimed by the government, because, you know, you don't really want uranium just laying around and probably people walking all over it. But I figured if there was a chance, it would be out here, because we're really in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you know, we're 15 miles or something from Jeffrey City, which Jeffrey City's in the middle of nowhere town and in the middle of nowhere. So we're just going to head back to town now. If you tune back in, I'll have a video of extra footage. We do pull up and go to the Mockingbird place. I did not shoot video really in there, though. The guy actually almost looked like he was asleep or dead or something outside, so it was a little shocking. But anyways, it was an interesting place to stop at before leaving Jeffrey City.